Hey there, I'm Hendrik and welcome to my little video about all the gear I had with me in the Pallas-Yllästunturi National Park when I was skiing last week from Hetta to Pallas. So as you see right away, this was a skiing trip and I actually had two pairs of skis with me. One backcountry, cross-country type of ski that worked with these Lundhag's BC guide shoes. They have this Rotofella NNN binding, so they're very durable, and these skis are something like 10 years old. So I know they work. The sliding wasn't so good on prepared pistes, but I still got forward. And then I also got this AT ski touring setup with me. So a couple of DPS Caziar 87 backcountry skis. Usually I ski on the slopes with these, but because I expected not that great deep snow, I didn't take anything that is wider and longer, but this quite narrow and short ski, especially for the uphills that I had to do in the national park, because it goes through the fjords, up and down, and having a ski with really good skins that is easy to go up with felt like a good thing to take. Now I also had my very trusty Comperdel carbon ultralight poles. I decided to only take one pair of poles, and those were working really well, and there were no problems with them, and they still are in one piece. It was something that I was a bit concerned about, if the long daily use would be too much for these rather sensitive and lightweight poles, but everything worked out fine. So the clothes I'm wearing were actually also the clothes I was wearing when I traveled to and from Lapland back. So I had two really long travel days, around 16-18 hours on each side of the trip, and I wanted to have fresh, non-smelly, non-sweaty clothes with me, so that it is more comfortable to sit in the bus and in the train and not annoy myself with my sweaty and smoky smell, and also all the other travelers. But then there were really not that many travelers. So yeah, I was wearing this Black Diamond Alpine Start hoodie, and also a fleece from Houdini. It's this new power hoodie something, the more environmentally friendly fleece. I like that a lot. And Houdini pants, and then I got also long underwear because it's still winter, it's still cold, so having a bit of extra thermal layers underneath is very nice. I had these POC cycling gloves because they're pretty wind resistant, and they're also very durable, so if you take a fall on the icy ski slopes, it survives it better than the more sensitive very thin Salomon gloves that I had with me. Well, over here we got the Klettermusen UL lightweight ski touring backpack. I already introduced this backpack a while back, and I've been using it now on the ski trips and now on this hiking trip in a couple of times, and I really like it. It's a really good pack, and the most important thing for me, something I didn't think I would like, was this side access pocket. So I had always in this backpack a bottle of water. So I had a bottle of water. I had the camera I'm filming on there, and I also, this is still like the way it came from traveling. I had here the pocket with the microphones and the more sensitive gear. And then the second camera. The third camera. And I had my noise cancelling headphones for traveling with me, because I really need those. Snacks, chocolate raisins. Then I have here a nice warm puffy jacket from PhD. Then I got a knife and a headlamp. And finally I also got a power bank in there. And then I still have in here, that I'm not gonna bother getting out, my passport, my little journal, and the book and the map. So I had the map usually always on me, and also the smaller camera you saw over there. So that's the stuff I was wearing for traveling and the stuff that's in my backpack. Let's see what's all in the Pulka. So I start here in the back, and here the first thing is the belt for pulling the Pulka. So I was wearing this underneath the backpack and on top of all the other layers, and with that I was pulling this. It was a comfortable harness. I had no problems with it whatsoever. It did its job really well. Funnily enough, I remembered on the third day that I had these little hooks here on the side, the little D-rings and the carabiners, so that I can just unclip the Pulka and I don't need to take backpack off and the harness off to come here and access it. So it felt a bit funny. I was laughing quite a lot as I realized I could have just taken it off. Then here in the back I also had my bag with all my snacks, so a lot of nuts, hot drinks, so tea and cacao and coffee. And obviously then I also had 2 thermos flasks with me, so one a little bit over half a liter hydro flask and 1 liter thermos bottle, and those were really useful. They were usually almost empty by the time I arrived at camp, because I tried to stay very well hydrated, so there was just enough water usually left to start the snow melting process. Also here in the back was my hygiene kit, so there was like hand sanitizers, toilet paper and stuff. Alright, let's open this up. Here on top, as you will see in some of the videos I will cut in over here, I had my Joby Gorilla Pod with the A6500 that was on top of this with the other pair of ski that I wasn't using. So I had one camera always on top of the Pulka so that I could easily access it to film. It still is a lot of effort to actually like take everything off, as I said earlier, come back here, take the camera, set up the camera, put the camera running, go back, strap myself back in and then continue shooting the scene and then doing the whole thing again. So strapping myself out, getting the camera, putting the camera back, strapping myself in and continuing hiking. It's a very different thing in comparison with backpacking, where I usually have the camera here and it's super quick and easy to take the camera, put it somewhere and start it to run. Okay, a really important piece of kit, my Z-Lite. This was also actually strapped on top. It was now inside for traveling. This was my brake pad, so I took this out, took it off the Pulka when I made a break, so I could sit down and have a short break and no need to sit on top of the snow. Also here are my nature base Morkel boots. These have a wool liner. These are absolute fantastic. I think I have these also something like 10 years already. A very, very loved piece of gear that is super light and very comfortable to put on in camp after wearing these or these ski boots. Okay, so here I have another beanie, another pair of light gloves and my ski goggles, and I have my tripod that I carry with me and my European Trail Days Kuksa, which I had to postpone, so keep an eye on the Trail Days website to figure out when it will take place, and my bag with food, which is now almost empty. I had a couple of candles with me. I left some already in the huts over there. It's very nice to have some real light or candle light to sit by in the evenings, so that's why I carried several candles with me, because it's very comfortable. My long handled spoon, and over here I got the inflation bag from Vaude, and inside of it is the Thermarest X-Term, so a winter mattress that has kept me warm for 7 or 8 years in this time of the year. And over here I got my Katabatic Gear Savage quilt, also a piece of kit that I have been using since ages. I have a really old video that's going to be linked now in the top right corner, and you can look at it. This is a great sleeping bag. It still looks like new because I take so good care of it, and it's yeah, it has kept me very toasty, so I never felt cold in the nights in camp on this trip. Okay, things are now a bit mixed up because this is in travel arrangement, but over here I got a sleeping shirt, sleeping underwear, and I got the pants that I was wearing on the first day of skiing that I took with me for the cross-country skiing part of the trip. I had 3 pieces of clothes with me. Actually, I can show you. So over here I got my ski clothes. Over here I got my normal street clothes that I was wearing for travel. And over here I had a third bag with all the clothes for cross-country skiing. And these two, so the ski touring and the cross-country skiing clothes, they were used in combination. So the long base layers that I was using for ski touring, I also was using for cross-country skiing. So 3 bags with clothes that were color-coded, and yes, it's a bit more, but of course it was a 10-day trip, and I wanted to have these fresh clothes for the beginning and the end, and that's why I have this third bag really. Then we got over here the MSR Advanced Pro 2 tent. I took this with me, and I was expecting to actually camp in it, but then in the end I actually every night slept in a hut or in a kotta, simply because there is a stove in there. I can dry my clothes very easily, and you don't need to pack up a tent in the morning, and there's just a lot more space. Over here I got my Astucas Milaris BV, also a great piece of kit. I was using this always in the kottas for added warmth. So the huts are really warm, the kottas are a little bit less warm, and that's why I had this bivvy with me, and it did a great job, very nice and spacious. I also had my drone with me. I still am flying a DJI Mavic version 1. I think it's now 4 years old. Still a lovely piece of kit that allowed me to capture very unique angles. It was just very windy all the time, so there wasn't that much of drone flying, but in those moments where it was not windy, I flew the drone, and I think that I captured some really great images, but you will see it now and can judge yourself. I got a bottle if I need to pee at night, and some tape. I actually should have put that on the poles, but I was lazy before leaving. A whole roll of toilet paper. Right now, of course, the gold this civilization is most eager to hoard, so, and I still got a lot left, so I might be able to sell this off and finance my next trip. I also got over here my avalanche shovel and my avalanche probe, because I want to stay safe when out, and also the shovel obviously can be used to dig a snow cave or something like that, or a bench if I want to sit and have a break. Over here are my warm gloves, a couple of Hestra gloves that I usually wear in breaks, and they are in the back of the the PhD jacket. Usually I just had them also loosely inside of my backpack. Then obviously no skiing without skiing gloves. These are my trusty La Sportiva Synchro boots. Skiing these now since 3 seasons. They're light, but they're also pretty heavy in comparison to what I'm wearing over here. But I really liked that I had the possibility to take these AT skis with me, and it made the uphills and the downhills just a lot more enjoyable and faster and more safe, in my opinion. I had actually three canisters of gas with me, and I used the MSR gas completely, and then just one of these a tiny bit. I was melting snow every day, at least 4 liters, so quite a lot of snow melting, and I think that the MSR canister did most of the heavy lifting, and that it went from full to empty in 4 days, so that I used this actually only like for the last 1.5 days of being outside. Talking of snow melting, I got over here the MSR Windburner 2.5 liters stove, a great stove for melting snow. This has been doing such an amazing job of melting the snow. It went quick, without any hassle, and it's just very comfortable to use, and it is very efficient. I used it mostly inside, but you also could use it outside with the same performance. Then I got here another package with all the extra spare batteries for my camera. So as you saw, I had 3 batteries with me, plus the drone, plus my cell phone, and I had for all 3 Sony cameras more batteries with me, and also more batteries for the drone. I was out in a very cold environment. The first night it was -18, and that is of course temperatures that batteries are very sensitive to. I need to say that the A7 III battery was a complete hero. It actually almost one battery lasted for 2.5 days, so even in these really cold temperatures it did an amazing job. I also had some spare cord, so all the ultralight backpackers will be now shaking their head. It's like, why is he having it on this paper backer still? It simply was that it was a last minute decision to take it along, and so I could tie out the tent if necessary, or do something with the Pulka, and so I didn't have time to put it in a lighter manner along, but I haven't used it at all, so it was fine. And finally a towel to stay clean, and then my gloves that I was wearing while ski touring. And the final piece of kit, a very thin closed cell phone mat, so in case something would have been with the Tamarest X-Term and I had a repair kit with me, but if something would have happened and I couldn't have fixed it, I had this and the satellite with me, and with that I would have been probably able to cope. It probably wouldn't have been warm, but I would have been able to cope. So this was all the gear I pulled and carried with me while I was in the Pallas-Yllästunturi wilderness or national park, skiing from Hetta to Pallas, and then also still spending a few days skiing and fat biking in Ylläs. So it looks quite a lot. It was pretty heavy, and it's also not very comfortable to travel, but I would prefer this over the alternative, which probably is a really big backpack, with which I would need to transport all of that on my back. I think this was, for me on this trip, the much nicer and more comfortable alternative. I had it packed in a really good manner. I had easy, quick access to the stuff I needed fast if I needed it. So first aid, snacks, and warm drinks in the back, and the mattress on top for sitting down. And it was yeah, a good arrangement, and I would do it like this again. Maybe try to save some weight here and there now that I know that I didn't use all of the stuff and what I could leave back home, so that I can travel a little bit lighter. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, as always, leave a thumbs up, as it really makes a difference. If you got questions about anything that I showed you over here or the trip itself, please leave them in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And as always, remember, life is better outside, even in this spring snowstorm. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.